Oh, she wins, just in case you were wondering. And she says she makes a deal that she'll stop asking questions for 30 minutes if they go on a Ferris ride wheel. And it's just like, you're that desperate. She is that desperate, but still, like, you can do so much better than a Ferris wheel ride. Like, that sounds like an amazing thing to do. I am a child, so I guess he wanted to do it too, and he's amused about how persistent his wife is. But she literally said, "Let's do that." He said, "No." She said, "I'll stop talking." 30 minutes if we do, and he was like, "Yay!" Like, is that really that persistent? No. Okay, so he kissed her on her. He kissed her on the engagement party, so she thought that it was like a deeper thing, which explains a lot more. Her poor, she got attached easily, and she's like, I thought that he thought I was something more than just a gold digger who spends his money and wants to go around on like holidays. But I'm like, that's the entire thing you've done for this whole trip. Spend his money to get back at him, flirt with other men to get back at him. I mean, he doesn't. I don't think he doesn't quite know that because she hasn't told him the reason she's doing all this shit. And then he's like, I thought. And then she's like, why does he think I'm that? Is that all he thinks of me? I thought he knew me. And I'm like, yeah, because your actions have shown him slightly different. He's like, I thought that he knew we're the same thing. He cares about the business. You were meant to care about your degree. He spent all this time on his business. You keep complaining. You get how you want to go exploring, like on your holiday, and how you want to go shopping outside, and then how you just go shopping in the hotel, and to buy stuff. She's just picking the most expensive things, and I'm like, right, that shows him that you're not a gold digger. Like that really, really shows him it's so piss taking. So this guy gets a company and she gets an idiotic degree. The dad called it underwater basket weaving, but it's what's it like ancient ancient linguistics, something to do with Latin and ancient Arabic and Greek. Like, I mean, it's a niche. I don't get. This seems to be her personality trait, knowing about words. I actually like saw like how writers write, and when you make a character, you have to like shit like hobbies. But how do you pick a character? I mean, in other books I can play, they always do something like ridiculously unrealistic, like street fighting or like knife skills. And here this girl is, and she's like, I'm really into words, like, really. So when you talk, and when she says a word, she'll tell you the entire story about the word, and she's like, some guys don't like that. And I'm like, some people don't like that. Like, imagine having a conversation with a person who analyzes every single one of your words and then tells you where your word originated from, its specific meaning in the fucking Middle Ages. Like, no, I don't care. Okay? Like, I'm. Okay, but you know what? It's a book. But it's like, it's such a drab personality thing to have. And it's really, really. I get it's her dream, but this guy is getting a company out of this arranged marriage, and you're telling me you only get a degree in ancient languages, which she wasn't planning to use anyway because she knew at some point that she was going to get married. But if she had a choice, she'd work in academia to teach more people who decide to do that degree. It's just such a rich girl degree. Like she's like being the daughter of a politician. I'm used to be surrounded by celebrities, and I'm like, no, like no, like they're not. That's not what politicians do. Maybe the higher ups, so her dad sounds questionable. I think he sounds like a Republican. She's like, but I know he's doing good work. I was like, I don't know. She doesn't seem that interested in anything apart from words, which is as I said before, just dull. Like, please shut up.
It was heavier than I expected, the stone spanning the width of my finger.
So at some point she admits, so she's like, what can I do? And I'm like, this is such a stupid and random. Yes, it's a stupid degree, but as someone too who's been called to be doing a stupid degree, who has friends doing stupid degrees, all I can say is, student loans are a thing. Like, so apparently she got a scholarship, but like, she can't get the full scholarship ride because of how much her dad earns, and I'm just like, so get student loans to cover the rest. Like, you already have a scholarship, I don't know what's called, a scholarship for most of it. You'll be good. I just don't like. Okay, but you know what? That ruins the plot because then it'll be a book about a girl who goes to college to study a stupid degree. But anyway, I'm not going to judge her for her degree choices. I mean, I have, but that's a wanker thing to do, and we are not a wanker, so let's leave that alone. She is entitled to her degree, and the scholarship shows that I'm guessing that she's good at it, which shows that she could become a teacher of it. I can't. I really. I just like the idea of that degree. To be fair, I just don't like languages. I mean, I do. I'm currently trying to learn German, but like, very unsuccessfully trying to learn German. But like Asian languages, I'm just like, I don't get the point. Who are you going to speak it to? Like historians, maybe, but as an average person, in order just to tell people you meet and have awkward conversations about how smart you are, and I don't even think she's smart because with Asian languages, I don't really think they promote critical thinking. With Asian languages, it's all the same thing, but a lot of book reading. Oh well, stuff, but languages doesn't really show some words because she's not really learning anything. I guess she's learning something new, but what is she really learning? I don't know. I don't see the point. She's like, I know the importance of language. It can be used in what, diplomacy, like Latin, really, in diplomacy, like especially learning Latin, such a rich Western thing. Like it doesn't work. I thought the Arabic too. Yes, that maybe could be useful in the future, but then wouldn't she have to learn more modern Arabic, modern Turkish to communicate with these people whose languages does change dramatically over time? And on top of that, why doesn't she then learn Chinese, considering that'd be quite politically useful if she wants to work with diplomacy, especially as an American, but you know, that's too realistic. She keeps. The reason I'm so annoyed here is that this girl could have, like, again with the student loan, she had other I guess, avenues to approach, but she chooses to stay in her trap cage. And if she makes that choice to choose it, I then do not believe it's no longer a trap cage because it's her making. She's not trapped anymore. She chooses to live her life like that. She had a choice to get out and she chose to stay. I mean, yes, I would like her age is a very important factor because she is 18, but it's like now or never situation. Like, getting married is a big like thing. She's like signing up to at least give this guy 10 years of her life when she is vehemently against it and doesn't want to do. But she is smart enough as a very young adult to get out of it. But she chooses not to for her life of comfort. And, you know, I'm never going to be in that situation, but is it, if I really wanted to get out, it's not a choice for me. I would simply leave. Like, I feel like freedom is worth more than anything. She just doesn't know because I don't know. If it's a family business and the guy's very traditional, that he's like, he can't bring the son fully into the business until he's married, then are they sure that a divorce is going to be okay? Like, it's just like, no thinking ahead. Like, just sign up, be like, 10 years, like, 10 years in the bet, you're still gonna be together. The 3 books, you already know that you fall in love, but we'll see. Like, you can know something and not have it, like, ruin your entire personality. Like, I like politics. I study it. But I mean, I talk about it a lot. At the same times, I talk. I have noticed that I just talk about it less. I guess I've become a more interesting person, and it's just work now. It truly is. I do less like knowledge about it. I do less reading about it. It's like it's work. The most common thing I talk about now is cooking and eating. God, I'm such a fat ass. But it's just like, yeah, it's just like it's boring. Like, learn to talk about more than one thing. Like, you as a person should have multifactors. I mean, everyone does have multifactors of their personality, but you then have to work on presenting that. I say this as a person who is found this really hard. I present like one face. You know, that face is different to each person, and I guess when people you know for longer and closer, they get the whole picture. But still, like, you have to do a bit of like, I was gonna. What am I? I'm thinking of like fake laughter, but it's not fake laughter. But you have to do a bit of overly presenting to how you present yourself to people matters. It is not a straight head to mouth thing, which this girl seems to have going on, but she could solve it easily because although this like uni degree, she's obviously meant to be very smart, but she can't seem to present herself in public. Like, that's just stupid. Joke, Mohammed may be pedophile. I think that's way too controversial. How will that even work? Come up woman being the 4-year-old one for connection ended up with a woman of questionable age. Let's just say that. Maybe too controversial. Yeah. Second one. Terrorist. Very horny teenage boys. And if you die, you get 70 times. Always fascinates me why the Bible was about sex. Like, have you heard, like, in paradise, there's supposedly 70 virgins? I always found this so weird. I mean, the first bit is about the virgins. Why? Are they virgins? Virgins, unfortunately to say this, don't have very good sex because they don't know what they're doing. And I guess that's the point, but I think that when you have sex, you should enjoy it, you should be wet, not stiff, smelly, and wondering why you decided you had to try this. Like, it shouldn't be a thing of regret. And what's the point of going to paradise? To experience something you could have done on Earth. I don't get that. But anyway, there's that attraction to the inexperience and confusingness that whole thing is. And then you have the fact that you get 70. Okay, that makes sense in either way. But I get why they would kill them for it. So then they have, the wedding. And when she steps into her new life, where she's taking control by doing absolutely making no decisions in the wedding. So she's happy to leave it to someone else. But this girl didn't even pick her dress on her one day. She didn't pick the husband, she didn't pick the ring, she didn't pick the venue. She didn't pick. All she did was turn up and do as she was told. And that was the first step to her regaining her life and regaining control. Like, how stupid. Truly. I should tell you, I'm like 20 minutes in, and I want to kill someone. Like, this girl gets on my nerves. Like, she's irking me. And it's not, irks is not even a word. She is fanatically taking the piss out of me. I'm not like this. I want to stop, but it's so bad I have to go on. Like, this reaction is strong. So we'll see what happens.
Ready. Wasn't sure, but I nodded anyway. Together, we ran through the line
Oh
of...
my god. Girl cannot even choose her own underwear. So even for that day, she didn't choose her own underwear. And she's like, start my new life, and I'm like, I don't think much is gonna change. Like, the guy hasn't really done much. I have no opinions on him yet. He's there. He seems to be strong. Like, I read in, like, my reviews when I was choosing to read the book that he's quite alpha. I thought, yeah, but he seems to be quite strong-headed and actually have a decent reason and a plan for doing this, and she's here for the ride. Girl can't even choose her own underwear. So that's why she stayed. Like, what is she? Some sort of fucking invalid? So on the first wedding night, he doesn't want anything to do with her, and he falls asleep. And so she changes to her normal, ugly pajamas that she just sleeps in. And then when she wakes up, she's wondering, maybe she should have tried harder to wake him. And she's like, why am I so upset? It's a marriage of convenience. And he's like, oh, he's probably done this loads of times. And I'm like, yeah, like, he's not the prize. He is not the goal. The goal is that degree that you really care about. Remember that? Like, all you have to do is go on your fake holiday, Of course, you have to be amicable, amenable. I don't know, placid, is that a good word? Friendly, and, be open to him and learn to communicate and all that shit. But you don't have to love. You can then pop up to... she wants to go to, like, Chicago State. Do they call them unis in America? Chicago, she wants to go to college in Chicago and to do her degree there, and then she can meet a nice boy who's also mad about words, and they can get together and do secret things while her husband is in another state doing God knows what. As he does works to take over the local family business. But it's just like... So the guy too, his family owns a modeling agency, which means they have so much power everywhere and own loads of buildings. And I'm like, do they make that much money from modeling agencies? And how are they involved in everything and have so much influence if it's just a modeling agency? Like, for the media, it makes much more sense. Modeling agency is so niche. Like, I don't get it. Why are they so powerful? Maybe I just don't know enough about rich people. Actually, yeah, my original opinions are right. Like, no, modeling agencies are not that influential. Particularly for a born politician. What does he want? I don't know, to make, like, some models to make bad stock footage for his, ads campaigns? He's like, oh, you need to get married because I've got some really tough opponents this year for my re-election. I'm just like, what a shitty dad. Re-elections are sort of easier for politicians. Because what happens in re-elections is that if you're the incumbent, you have more money and you have more credentials, so then you're more likely to get votes. Also, your postage is free, so you can send out more leaflets, which gives you an advantage. People already know you. A lot of people just vote someone they used to. Most people are quite happy with, like... I mean, they don't like the idea of politicians, but they're quite happy with the ones that they have, because once they communicate with them, you can, like, form bonds, and they just have to do, like, one nice thing, and you'd be like, I'll vote for them for the rest of the time they're on the ballot. Which... probably isn't a great thing to do, but yeah, it works in that favour. Like, if you're an incumbent, you have a very, very high re-election rate, so I don't know what this guy's worried about, unless he's done something, I know, really terrible to sell out his area, hasn't paid enough attention to his area because he's trying to make it big. If it said that he was trying to get re-elected as a president, it would make sense. If he's trying to get re-elected as a senator, I guess then he only faces re-election campaigns every single 6 years, but 6 years is more than enough time for your people to, like, people have short memories, but 6 years is enough time for them to be a general trend of, like, we support you. I don't know, I feel like since these are just a whole failure, most of his opponents would come from primary. Maybe that's why I need some. Why is this now a political discussion? Oh my god, I've become her. Ah!
Come on. Everybody loves music. Is it Meatloaf? He let out a long...
So she described herself as a Lindsay. And Lindsay's apparently never give up. I don't really know what that means. I think that's a very American cultural reference. Slightly sexist, but you know, that's just... I don't get that. I keep trying to talk to him and he's not interested because he wants to work, and he's like, just go and do it by yourself, and I'm like, yeah. Like, it's not a real marriage. I mean, I guess you have to do some activities, but just want to go outside. I don't know, just talk to him inside. I don't know. Like, to be amicable, that's just amiable. That's just what you do. Like, you know, she wants to... Why does she want to get along with him so much? I don't understand this. Like, in all these arranged marriage books, you get a girl, you get a guy, and it's like the girl's always like the one, like, I'm gonna make the best of this. He has to fall in love with me because then what am I else gonna do? And I'm like, but this is a different thing because this guy sees like he has like a goal. He's like, in 10 years, like, we're doing this for freedom. I get what you want. And you get what you want. If that's just stupid, I mean, the least you could do on your holiday is enjoy yourself. Without this stranger getting in your way. Like, it's just like the least, if he wants to work, let him work and you go and do your sightseeing. Like, I just like, are you that incapable? Like, you've married into him, he has all this influence, money and power. Like, leave him and just go and enjoy it. I mean, that's mine. Like, that's my response. How are you horny to the guy you've basically known for 3 days? Fine, I get it, he's hot. Like, but you have like 10 years together, like, calm down. She's like, dates is like what real couples do. You are not a real couple, though. Don't be stupid. Do not fall this early on. Like, come on. I thought the goal was a degree. That degree, which is just forgotten about. I mean, yes, it's basically been a chapter, but still, the degree is the goal. Move forward. Leave that guy alone. Like, I don't even hate the guy. Like, he just wants to live his life and take over his dad's company. Like, he has the right to do that. And this girl's like, I'm attention starved because no one ever listens to me and I never make any decisions. So I was like, she needs to work on herself. Otherwise, these two are going to have a very, very bad, incredibly codependent relationship. Like, she needs to go and form personality and make friends and get other hobbies apart from liking words. She's like, he wants me, so why isn't he fucking me? And I'm like, it's been like 2 days on your honeymoon. Like, please calm down. He chose a hotel, which is like an old castle, because she thought that he might have liked it, so I guess you could say that he's being considerate, and this girl's just like, why would he pay any attention to me? But he is. He just more focused on his work, and I mean, he's being nice to her, but he still has his goals. So I'm not gonna hate him for that fact. I know why this girl's new goal is simply to get fucked. Like, it's a fake marriage. Like, please. I don't feel sorry for anyone. I mean, I do, but like, internal longing about how, oh, why doesn't he love me? Why isn't he attracted to me? I mean, he knows he's attracted to me, but how can he turn it off so quickly? I'm like, I remember in Chapter 1, she said that though she was a virgin, she's not completely innocent, and she owns a vibrator. I think she should use that vibrator to ease out some of the attraction and anger and horniness that she's obviously fucking feeling. Like, I get it. You've never been with a boy before. You can solve the problem, though. You know, like, you just married a really rich guy from a very rich family. I'm sure someone can get you a vibrator. She didn't bring one with her. In where she is, she's in, like, Austria. They have vibrators in Austria. So, finally, there's something going on. He's looking for someone. Her. And, she's not meant to know. I think she is meant. She asked him about it, he didn't reply. She's like, but I won't give up yet. And I was like, no, why not be a Lindsay? And I think I have fixed the problem. I think the next book I'm going to read is going to have an alpha female. I think that's what I need to looking to a book with a very strong author, not one who is created from her man, not one who is just even feisty. I want an actual woman who is successful, who's independent, who knows what she wants, who meets a guy who is the same thing, and they come together, and instead of going weak hurt and arguing about stupid shit, they trust each other, love, respect each other, and support to move forward. Or is that too much of a normal relationship for what I like? Yeah, I think that's too much of a normal relationship, but I'm definitely going to look into that. She wears some sexy lingerie and he leaves. And then we go into his PVO, and he does find her attractive. Definitely, so that's not just her thing, but he's just got other shit to do. And she's like, how dare he leaves? Like, what if he finds the other woman? Like, what's gonna happen to me? And I'm like, you're married on paper, like, he's not gonna divorce you until he gets what he wants, at least. Plus, the aim was not to get married to this guy. The aim was that degree. I was like, the honeymoon is unimportant because it's a fake relationship. That's probably the best line, but it's a worse line. Ripe virgin body. What the hell? I think there's too much. I mean, especially in this drawer, there's too much. The girls are always virgins, but the guys are like major sluts. Like, no. Again, a power imbalance. Like, they have no idea what she's doing. I'm like, why is this virgin so desperate to have sex? Like, do it with someone who you love. Not with someone you've known for 3 days in an arranged marriage. Like, you're not even meant to make kids yet. Which I mean, probably at some point, but not expected to do it yet. And if all goes well, they won't have to, and then she can fucking meet some other language nerd and they can have their own babies. It's just like, has she forgot her plan? She's only mentioned her love of words once now. I don't like the guy anymore. He claims that she has focus and drive, and he respects that because the fact that he wants to go to college is surprising. And I'm like, look, college isn't the whole thing. Like, you have to do something, like, afterwards. And this girl seems to think that that's the whole thing. She's like, I know I wouldn't even be able to really use it. And I'm just like, then I'm doing I'd like to foreclosure. I am doing a very stupid degree right now. I mean, it's not that stupid. In some circles, it's respected. But according to my family, I am an idiot. So I'm studying politics and RR politics, and they do not appreciate me. But, you know, I also have no idea what I want to do afterwards, but I know that I have to do something. I can't just be like her. He's like, most girls would just want to sit around and buy a lifetime of expensive holidays and clothes, but she wants to go to college. That's like 3 years of her life. Like, bitch, bye. Like, oh, come. I was like, why is this girl giving her compliments for this? See, like, she's surrounded by people who've obviously really gassed her up. And she thinks that, like, what does she think is gonna happen? Why can't he go and find some mysterious girl? Why? If he is looking for a girl that he's, like, in love with or attracted to, why can't he do that? Because she only needs the marriage to get her college degree. So after those, I mean, I think it's like 4 in America. So after those 4 years, he could fuck off, and then she could fuck off, and I was like, there is a goal, and it's just like, this girl is, I won't say she's not a doormat, she is a doormat, but she's accepted everything way too quickly, and like, fight, you know, this is your future. She could have left from the very beginning. She stayed, and she made it out as if she was staying because she had a better plan, but this is not a plan. This is, make my husband fall in love with me, though it's a fake marriage. Does she not believe that she'll ever be able to find another man? I'm very confused. I feel like I'm rambling. The guy doesn't want a real relationship because he's focused on his business. Which we knew that from the start, but yeah. He gets it. He's like, it's an arrangement. She doesn't know what she's really married in. I knew it. So obviously that family's involved in something more than just modelling, because that's just stupid. Like, obviously there is something more there. But, you know, he thinks that she's naive and stupid. Like, it's like just a page before he just said that she's smart and determined, but now she's naive and stupid. She's like, why is she trying to get to know me? And I'm like, I know, right? We agree. So she finally mentions the fact that once she gets back to Chicago and she starts her school, she'll have something else and then less time to be invested in this sham of a marriage. And I'm like, yes, you get it. Like, what an improvement. And then her next sentence is about, like, where were you last night? And I'm just like, back to the same place. She's like, where are you going? And I'm like, she's like, why would he even do like a fake honeymoon? And I'm like, for appearance's sake. That's why you went outside so other people can see you together, because he's all getting a wife for, like, I know, good PR. Like, so people need to see you together. And it's just like, it's your honeymoon. Like, it's like, I don't know, imagine it as like a photo shoot or something. But then she fails. Where were you last night? I'm like, you're not his mother. To be fair, I guess a wife can ask the husband where they were, but it's just like, he's like, you're on a need to know basis, and she's like, let it go. It really doesn't matter. Oh my god, he called her. He said, what else will the woman like you want? She's like, are you calling me a whore? And I was like, because she's like, the agreement is I get a wife and you get to spend whatever you want with my money and go college and, like, stay away from your dad. And I'm like, yeah. That's the agreement you made when you decided not to take the loans and, like, or go anywhere yourself and get married to this guy. Like, you did it for the money. Like, was she trying to give us that was because of love? Because she met this guy once before? Like, I say once before. She met him when he was announced that they were going to be fiancés. Like, it's just like, please get over yourself. You stayed because of the money. Live with it. Like, go shopping since you wanted it so bad. Well, I know. She could start a charity that makes makes other people interested into words. I don't know. She's like, I can't believe this could be the price of getting my degree. No, you made it the price of getting your degree. Like, no, this was completely and utterly your choice. The writer forgot the haunt that she could have just left. But she's like, what would I do? Well, like truly, she's like, I can't leave my dad, so let's get married off. And then now she's like, you could have just said no to the wedding. You could have embarrassed him and just left there. Then he would probably never speak to you again. But then you could, don't know, do whatever you want and fuck all. But she's like, no. Like, anyone can take the loans, I know that. And the fact that she has a scholarship makes it so much cheaper. And she was just being stubborn. She married the guy for the money. So if you ask me, he has a completely right to say, woman like you. It's like a status thing for money. Girl claims she has been coerced into marrying this man. And I'm just like, no, this was a choice. And then you allowed everyone else to make all the choices, but you could have said no, you could have reclaimed your choice anytime. I thought she could go somewhere and explore the city by herself, because solo traveling is a thing I think that I would quite like to do by myself. But anyway, she instead decides to spend his money quite recklessly, and I'm like, ooh, that's right. Prove that he's right. She's getting a new wardrobe. I get why she's doing it. I get why she's spending his money. I mean, it's something I would do as in vindictively, but at the same time, I just think it's petty. Like, he hasn't promised you anything. There is there is the arrangement. I'm just like, why take everything so personally?
He could sit and wait in the restaurant for hours for all I cared. Let him get it.
Okay, so I have just remembered that she is 18, so I may be being slightly harsh on her. It is a very petty, immature 18-year thing to do, but you know what, fine. Which makes it, what she just thought, so much worse. I think she looks like a child. Yeah, how did that, shouldn't they have waited to her degree and then got married? Yeah, 18 is way too young. No way. But, now her favorite thing about Europe is the drinking age, and I'm like, do not become an alcoholic in Europe yet. I'm like, please, calm down. Words apparently never let her down, and she said that she's fine being alone, but then she said she wants to take him with this journey with her. And I'm just like, I thought we were going home so she could finally go back to college, but no. No, they're going, where are they going? They're going to Hungary. And she keeps mentioning this Hungarian word that means the beginning of a smile. And I'm just like, can we move on? Why aren't we in Hungary yet? Can they just go back home. Like, I'm like, gal, all your priorities are wrong. She admitted, by the way, that she is doing this for the money. So part of it. So I'm like, are you gonna complain the entire time? I mean, as a gold digger, this is like the best you could ask for, which is what she is. You get a man who has no real interest in you, doesn't treat you badly, and just wants you to spend his money and fuck off. Like, this is good. Oh god. So she has realised that he wasn't exactly cheating on her, but maybe he's meeting all these girls because of his job in the modelling agency that he's doing casting calls. And I'm just like, how did I miss that too? Oh, I forgot. Because I find it really stupid that he's doing the modelling agency thing. But that explains a lot. Ooh.
Everything with sharp, clean lines and white linens.
She keeps talking about how important words are and how they can communicate things, and I'm like, then just talk. You don't need fancy English to just explain what your thought process was and how you were wrong. Like, you don't need all these fancy languages to do that. And instead she sends him a text that's like, asks him permission if she can leave. Like, he says, tells her to stay in one place. And he asks her permission so he can leave, and I'm like, or she could have just talked to him about like the whole thing, but maybe she does that later. She won't. So she wants to be a gold digger with love. She has what she calls emotional needs that she has to get met, and I'm like, you can get them met from someone else, not with your fake marriage husband, who you like because you admit that his money gives you opportunities and adventures. And I'm just like, come on, use them. Is it just me, or do Americans completely have a whole stepdad's wife thing with their wives? So she's having a conversation with her stepmom, and she's like, I was there and I was willing, and he was like, and the mum's like, men don't really know what you want. You have to be more than just there and willing. You have to take initiative. You have to like be there in front of him, ask him what he wants and what he needs, and he might not even really tell you, but you have to give him everything he wants and he needs. She's like, he's like your dad, and she's like, but I've been living my whole life for my dad, and I thought that would be easier, and I thought, no, you just moved cages. She's like, I thought it would be different with us. I mean, at least when we're like newlyweds, and I'm like, no. It's actually really quite sexist and sad, but you know, she's doing this for a reason. She's not a victim. She is a willing participation of this patriarchal marriage that she signed up to for money. So she asks, what about me? And I was like, well, you sold yourself for this. That's what the stepmother says, but not in that word. She says, you should be grateful. You did this for the marriage. And she's like, but I thought it would be different. And he's like, you have to commit to this give and take. Your give and take is the money and the college degree, and his give and take is a pretty wife who doesn't ask many questions and just does what she thinks she wants. Like, that's the arrangement that they have. She doesn't like it. She could have just left. She listened, but I just don't think she understands. She's meant to take whatever he gives him and gives him whatever he wants. I don't think she understands that part of that, because she's like, I'm gonna seduce him and he'll never look at another woman again. And I'm like, he was never cheating on you, but you can't guarantee that because it's a fake relationship. It's just like, come on. Like I've read other fake relationship stories. You become friends and you build a relationship over time. It's been like less than a week on this sham marriage, and she's like, why doesn't he love me? And she listened, but I just don't think she understands. She's meant to take whatever he gives him and gives him whatever he wants. I don't think she understands that part of that, because she's like, I'm gonna seduce him and he'll never look at another woman again. And I'm like, he was never cheating on you, but you can't guarantee that because it's a fake relationship. It's just like, come on. Like I've read other fake relationship stories. You become friends and you build a relationship over time. It's been like less than a week on this sham marriage, and she's like, why doesn't he love me? And but of course she doesn't understand, because she's 18. I'm 19. I couldn't handle this, but then I wouldn't do it. I would leave, which is why I'm judging her so hard for staying. But I just like stop trying so hard to be the perfect wife. You're a teenager who only has one friend. Like, I feel bad. As soon as they keep mentioning her age, I'm just like, oh god, why? Why so young? So she arranges to have dinner, but he texts her that he can't make it, and she stays up for 7 hours and then goes ballistic at him. She's like, you never do anything with me, blah blah blah. Like, I gotta go outside, I can't be trapped here for the entire time. I'm sick of it. And she's like, this isn't enough. And once again, he's like, we made an arrangement. Like, he's like, why are you so mad? Like, this is an arrangement. And she's like, and then so he kisses her, because she shouts at him to do it, and he kisses her. And then he pulls back and he's like, fine, see, I kissed you. And walked off, and she's like, she asks her one friend, and apparently kiss is meant to mean, which should tell you how badly you want. And then for the next day, he sends her an email that has like his itinerary on it, but there's scheduled space for, the scheduled space for her to go her to go sightseeing, and she thinks that he's coming with her, but instead he asks one of his model friends to take her sightseeing, and she is pissed. She's like, I don't need a babysitter. I'm like, yes, you do. You said you wanted someone to show you around. He found someone it's her city. She can show you around. I'm like, why is complaining? Because before she was complaining that when she thought it was him, oh, he's so hot and cold. Like, he wants me and then he doesn't want you. And I'm just like, this isn't hot and cold. This is one thing. He has shown you you claimed you wanted something. He then gave you that. Why are you complaining? I know, because you're an 18-year-old and you think it's like your first relationship, but it's not. I do feel bad. Like, I don't like her one bit, but I do. I feel so bad. But then once again, it is a choice. Okay, so her dad's had a heart attack, and I'm like, they're finally gonna go back. And I was like, oh, see, if she waited, and if she left and took the student loan, he may have just paid for it anyway, because heart attack changes people's feelings when you get close to death. That's all I'm saying. I'm saying, and like, although, maybe it was an engagement, she could have called it off because she was so sad because of her father, but no, it's a full-on marriage she agreed to, and if the father dies, I'm just gonna be like, ha. Doesn't really help her with her neediness, but we'll see. Okay, so no surprise here, the family actually trades in sex trafficking. The modelling agency is just a front, and she's very surprised to hear it. Yeah, so her dad is definitely a Republican. Her dad's run all his campaigns on family values, and she is running to tell her dad because she thinks he's going to save the day, and I'm just like, how stupid can you be? Very. As a very sheltered, naive 18-year-old girl. So he knew. Of course he knew. And she's like, I'm not connected to it because he coerced me into marrying. I'm like, no, you married for the money, remember? Money isn't always clean. Oh, I feel bad for her, let's just say that. So it ends by, she's doesn't know what she's going to do with this information. Stefan knew the whole entire time. I am not shocked. There were clues along this. There was more than enough foreshadowing. I honestly don't know why she is, and again, she's an idiot. My whole thing is, why do dark romans love the idea of human trafficking so much? I mean, it turns up in every book. Like, what is this girl realistically going to do? If it took her so long to realise. What I really hate is that she compares herself to one of the girls who's actually been trafficked. And I'm just like, no, girl, you chose to marry that guy. You kissed him, you thought it was hot, you thought this was going to be fun. This is entirely your choice.